Welcome to Chris Cook for YouTube. Today I'm going to be doing baby back ribs. Now I know I promised a lot of you that the next video I was going to do was going to be fried apple pies, but I'll do that next. And the only reason why I chose to do this is because the last time I cooked baby back ribs, and I showed it in the video, people asked me, well, how did you cook the baby back ribs? But the video was really not to highlight the baby back ribs at that time. It was to highlight the side dish. So since I was cooking baby back ribs today, I said, okay, well, let me just go ahead and put this video on so they can see how I prepare my baby back ribs. Now this is going to be oven baked baby back ribs. Now I have 3 slabs of ribs here, and I've already washed them, but I did not season them, and I'll tell you the seasonings that I'm going to put on. But I want to show you something about your ribs. If you don't need to use a meat tenderizer to make your ribs tender. If you look at this piece of white that goes across the back of the baby back ribs, there is a layer of skin. Okay, it's a little thin layer of skin, and I've peeled it back for the sake of time. See it? See? If you peel that off of your baby back ribs, your baby back ribs are going to be tender. See that? Now a lot of people do not peel that off, and they don't know that this is stopping your because it's a lining, if you will. It is holding the ribs together, so it's keeping them from being fall off the bone. But if you take this off, then you will have fall off the bone baby back ribs. Now I like for my ribs to have some fight in it, so I normally don't take this piece off, and you don't have to take it off. But I just wanted to show you, if you take this off every time, your baby back ribs are going to be tender, because you've removed the lining that holds it together, and now all you have, see, is just straight meat. And if you remove it from, one side to the other, you can go ahead and get it off. Now that's the lining, okay? So I've taken it off and placed it down in the side of my sink. Now I'm not going to take it off the other 2 because, like I said, I like for my ribs to have some fight in them. So I'm not going to take it off the other 2. But I just wanted to show that to you. Now I'm going to put my seasonings on. And the seasonings that we're going to use today is going to be paprika, and I'm going to put the measurements this time at the bottom, because last time I cooked something I didn't put the measurements, but I didn't upload it, so somebody else did. But I'm going to put the measurements. So that's paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, celery seeds, salt, pepper. And to give them just that smoke flavor, I'm going to sprinkle them with some liquid smoke. And of course, I'm going to layer it with a layer of Worcester sauce. Now, I have my oven already preheating at 375 degrees. I'm going to cook these ribs for roughly 2 hours at 375 degrees. And then I'm going to, and it's going to be covered. And the reason why you cover your ribs is because you want them to tender. You want them to be tender. So what you do is, if you cover them, that steam that goes up, it will come right back down the ribs. If you cook them open, your pan open, you can get a tender rib. It's just going to take a little bit longer to cook, and you're going to have a layer of crust. Now I want that layer of crust, but I want it at the end when I get ready to add my sauce to it. And I do have a fantastic sauce recipe online, so you can go with that, or you can just eat your ribs plain. So I'm going to go ahead and season these. I'm going to do one to show you, and then I'll go away and I'll just do the rest of the ribs. So here you have the back side. You're going to layer it. Oops, just a moment. This is a new bottle, and I didn't take the inside flap off, so I'll just do that right now. So now I'm going to put some liquid smoke on, rub it all over. I'm going to do the same thing with a little bit of my Worcestershire sauce. Now I'm going to flip this on the reverse side. I'm going to do the same thing. You don't need a whole lot of liquid smoke. Just get some down on the rib. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the Worcestershire sauce. Now, for the sake of time, I've already mixed together all of my seasonings. So, and this is my rub that I use. So I'm going to rub that in. Okay. On both sides. Okay. Add a little more. And be generous with your seasonings because you want that rub to bake into your ribs. Okay. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to allow this to sit for 30 minutes and then I'm going to go. I'll refrigerate it just to let the seasonings that I put on kind of absorb into the meat. And then I'm going to place it in my 375-degree oven. I'm going to cook this for roughly 2 hours before I take it out, cut it up. I'll show you that step. And then I'll add my sauce, put it back into the oven and allow it to cook for another 15 minutes just so that my sauce can bake in and my ribs can get a little bit of a crust on it. So I'll be back with that process. But before I leave, let me just show you this. I've taken some aluminum foil, put it back to back, folded it right here, you know, in the side, folded it. And this is going to be my covering. Now, I do have pots that I can use with coverings on it, but this is the best to use when you're going ahead baking your ribs and you have an oversized container. So I'm going to just open that out and then put that on top of the ribs and allow them to bake. So I'll be back once I'm completed with the partial baking process to show you what the next step is. Be back. Okay, now we're back. So I just want to show you the ribs. Remember the one that I took the back lining off of? This is it. And to show you how tender this rib actually is, see how you can just pull that bone, you know, out of it. Or I can go down here. It looks like that bone is really sealed in. And I can just pull that bone, see, up out of the meat. If I come down here to the other end, it doesn't matter which one. I can just pull that bone up out. Now, I normally don't care for my ribs that way, you know, so I like my ribs to have a little bite in it. So I just wanted to show you this so you can see what I was meaning when I said that if you just take the ribs and pull that back lining off of it, that's what you will actually get. Then I'm going to put a little bit of the sauce on the meat and I'm going to put it back in the oven for like about 15 minutes just so this sauce can kind of bake on the meat and we can have just a bit of the crusty type. Now, because this meat is so tender to the pull, I'm going to use this to kind of, let me cut it right there. Okay. To pick it up and then put it back, there you go, in my pan. And I'll baste that other side while it's in the pan. Okay, now I just have a, I don't know, for some reason I've just never liked my ribs to be that fall off the bone. Okay. But they're very, very tender, and I know that they're very good because I tasted a little end of it without it being, once I took it out of the oven. In other words, just to make certain that my seasonings were on point. And of course they were. And now I'm going to put it back in. And you coat it, you know, just a little bit thick because you want to taste every bit of that barbecue sauce that's on top of the meat with the meat. Now, for this, for the next ones, okay, set that over to the side. For these, they are, even though they're tender, they're not pull apart like that tender. Okay? I can take this and flip it. With the others, I couldn't flip it without the bone coming out. Now, this bone will come out, but there's a little bit more fight in it because I didn't take off that lining. So with this, I'm going to cut through my bone. Okay. get down. Do that meat. There you go. And I let it set out for a minute just until it could cool, just so I could cut through that bone a little bit. Okay. Now they're tender, don't get me wrong, but the bone, I still like for my bone to be just with my meat still on it. So with this one, it's a little bit different than that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and coat these, and like I said, I'm going to get them all coated, put them back in the oven for 15 minutes, and then I'm going to take them out and show you what the finished product actually looks like. Okay? And they'll be cut apart at that time. Okay, and I'm going to sauce this up real good because I like a lot of sauce on my barbecued spare ribs. And these, as you know, was oven baked 2 hours, 375 degree temperature. Okay, so I'll finish saucing these up. I'll put them back in the oven. I'll go ahead and get them ready, and I'll be right back and show you what the finished product actually looks like. I'm back, and I'm ready to take these ribs out of the oven. They've been baking about 10 minutes. There you go. There is my baby back ribs, and I'm serving them with baked beans. So I already have a little plate set up, and the only thing I'm going to do is to cut off a piece of this. There you go. All right, here is my baby back ribs, and as you can see, the sauce went baked on, so that makes it even a little bit better to the taste. And here it is served on a plate. I'm serving it with baked beans. I had baked beans and baby back ribs. Okay, that's what Chris is cooking today. I know I promised you the apple turnovers, and I'm going to do them fried apple pies, in other words, and I'm going to do them probably up next video, but just wanted to show you how to do these ribs. And as always, thank you for watching Chris Cook For You Too. Bye.